So please remember, when you're using synthetic division, it has to be in this form. So x has to be by itself, and then there's going to be some number there. So in order to use synthetic division, we have to first set this factor x minus 1 equal to 0 so we can actually find the x-intercept. And so when we do that, we have x minus 1 is equal to 0, and then we add 1 to both sides. So we know that our first x-intercept is going to be a positive 1. So that's what I'm going to use to start my synthetic division, and then I always put it in a box so I know what I'm multiplying by. So please make sure that your exponents go in decreasing order. So this is x squared, and this is x, and then there's 0 x's. So my first term in front of x squared, since there's no number there, is a 1. And then 5. And then 6. So this is a lot easier than long division. So basically, you're going to take the first number, which is 1, and then you're going to pull it down. So our first term is going to start with 1. So then you do 1 times 1, which is 1, and then you just add them together. So that's 6. And then 6 times 1 is 6, and then 6 plus 6 is 12. So then our answer is x plus 6 plus 12. That's our remainder over x minus 1. So please remember, our answer is going to be one less exponent than our original answer. If this is x squared, this is just going to be x. Okay. So now that is example 1. So now we're going to use synthetic division to divide x to the 4th minus 10x squared minus 2x by 4 plus 4, by x plus 3. So remember, we have to make sure that is in the correct form, and it is because x is by itself. So that means our first potential x-intercept is going to be minus 3. So this is x to the 4th, so that's 1. So since there's no term with x to the 3rd, I have to put a 0 there. This is x squared, so that number is 10. And then this is just x, so it's negative 2, and then there's no number there, so there's no variable there, so it's just 4. Okay, bring down this first one. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, 0, and then negative 3 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Negative 10 plus 9 is negative 1. Negative 3 times negative 1 is 3. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So this is going to be our answer. So remember this 1. If this is x to the 4th, our answer is going to be 1 exponent less than that, so that's 1x to the 3rd minus 3x squared minus 1x plus 1, and then this is our remainder, so it's plus 1 over x plus 3. Okay, and that's my final answer. So this one, example 3, is going to get a little more challenging, and the reason why it gets a little bit more challenging, because if you look, this is not, x is not by itself. So I first have to factor something out, so then this x is by itself. So that means I'm going to be able to factor out a 2. So that's x plus 3 on the inside, because if I multiply it back out, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 3 is 6. So now that this is in the correct form, because x is by itself, I can use synthetic division. So I'm going to do x plus 3 is equal to 0, and so subtract 3, So that is x equals -3. So if you're wondering where I got this -3 from, that's where I got it from. So now I'm going to write out all my terms. So if this is x to the 4th and the coefficient in front of that is 4, this is x to the 3rd, the coefficient in front of that is 20, x squared, the coefficient is 14. This is x, the coefficient is 28, and then -3, and it has no x's. So now I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to bring down this 4. -3 times 4 is -12. 20 minus 12 is 8. 8 times -3 is -24. 14 minus 24 is -10. -10 times -3 is 30. -28 plus 30 is 2. 2 times -3 is -6. And so my remainder is -9. Cool. So now I have 4x, and remember this is to the 4th power, so I have to do 1 less than that, so that's 3, plus 8x squared minus 10x plus 2 minus my remainder, which is 9 over x plus 3. Okay? And this is going to be the tricky part, because remember in the beginning I took out that 2, so I have to put it back in. So that's 1 over 2, because remember this 2 is in the denominator. So now I still have that 1/2 to deal with, so I have to do 1/2 times 4x to the 3rd power, so that's 2x squared, 1/2 times 8x squared, which is 4x squared, 1/2 times -10, which is minus 5x, 1/2 times 2, which is positive 1, minus 1/2 times -9 over x to the 3rd, so that's -9 over 2x plus 3. And then I'm going to simplify that part out, so I have minus 9 over 2x plus 6.